Don't turn on TV.
Are we ready?
All right, we're good to go.
Okay. Good morning. Today is April 17th, 2025. It is right now 10:03 a.m. and I call the quarterly meeting of the Library Commission to order. First question is, are there announcements or correspondence from anyone? Okay, well, I will repeat what I said before, which is that I'm on Zoom because I don't want to spread any germs, have a bug, so that will take care of that. We have an update from Bobby Price, our city manager, regarding Yachats City Council goals and related roles and responsibilities of the Yachats Library Commission, or actually all the commissions. So Bobby, please feel free.
I'll log in to the meeting here so I can share my screen. How is everybody doing today? Well, I pulled this up. Better
than David.
I'm sorry you're sick.
Happens.
After this, I get to take my little one to urgent care for an earache. And you've got me to share.
Yeah.
Okay.
There it is.
There we go. Let's see here. Okay, so thank you for having me today. This is a little presentation that I've been giving to all of the commissions, and it's just a good way for us, where we are already in April, but we've been doing this since about December and January with most of the commissions, so it seems a little late to be here, but it's just part of the process. And this is my effort and the city's effort to get all of the commissions, and the staff, all working and being on the same page, understanding our roles and responsibilities and how we all work together. And then how the commission's roles fold into the city council's goals, and then which ultimately becomes our city staff's work plan for the year. And I'm starting to think we should be on like 2-year plan for that. Half the year just getting them out there. No. Okay, so first off, this is an organizational chart for the city, just to show kind of how we all work together. And the emphasis work together on this. The arrows are going both ways, and because we're going back, we're working together, we're going back and forth in a lot of this. So it starts with the city council as being the governing body for the city of Yachats. They set the policy, they make the decisions in their meetings, and then myself as the city manager, I take those and I work with our departments, our staff, and we put those things into place. So my role as city manager, you can see that I've got an arrow going back and forth towards city council. I bring them information, I prepare them with information, I bring them information that comes from the commissions or from the staff, from the residents, from wherever it's coming from. I bring it to them and present it to them. And sometimes if it is directly from a commission, that commission will be there and represent also. We can do it together where it's a collaboration, and it's meant to be a collaboration. And I work with our city staff. Our city staff is a sense they're departments. We might have one person, but that's the department of our city. It's this part of the city's structure. And we're really working on making this clear, as a lot of our commission's rules and ordinances were written pre-city management form of government. So we're really focused on getting everybody who's wanting to be involved and engaged in the city into the same mindset, is where the commissions, they work with their department, their city staff. The city staff is a direct link to them, to the city work and the work that they're doing to the city. So we've got all of our departments, our planner. So it's one person, but that's our planning department. She does so much on behalf of our planning department. We have our public works department. The library is a department of the city. Our commons, our recreation commons, community spaces, that is a department of our city. Administration, that encompasses our recording, our bookkeeping, utility billing, our city clerks, our administration. Then we have committees and work groups that work directly with me. And we've got a budget committee that works directly with me, and a finance committee that works directly with me. And then work groups are kind of a newly formed way of getting things done for the city. This was a policy, an admin policy that came into place, I think, my very first city council meeting. And so I've been working this last bit on how to incorporate that policy into our work. And what we've come to with that is based off of what was written and approved, is that city work groups, or work groups that are formed, they are they're report to me, they work with me. It's for, a project for the city. It's project based. It is not ongoing. It is, they have to put an application into me. They need to outline what that project is. It has to be you have SMART goals, objectives and overviews related to it. If there's going to be any budget requests, that needs to be part of it. And that is a way to get some work done for the city outside of public commission meetings. The commissions, they're there to support our city staff, our city manager, our city council. They're there to make recommendations. They're there to, if the city staff for that department that commission is related to needs some support with a project, saying, hey, can you research this? Can you look at this? Have you ever looked into ebooks for availability? Those kind of back and forth things. So commissions are there to support city staff in a productive way. What commissions are not, therefore, is directing, oversight, planning per se, but supporting and recommending to the city staff. And same with commissions and so the committees. The commissions and committees, they have a staff person that is there in their department, and then you can see how it goes up. So Public Works works with their Public Works department. They go back and forth with conversations and requests and support. And then if it needs to come up to city council or to me, then it comes to me, and back and forth. So that's kind of how our organizational chart operates in the city manager form of government for the city of Yachats. And next, this is roles and responsibilities. Looks like I've got the one up that I created specifically for the Parks and Commons, but it's the same across the board for all of our commissions. And this is a lot of what I just said, but this roles and responsibilities, this relates to how we work together a lot in our meetings, prepare for meetings, and get work done through meetings. So again, the city council is the governing body for the city of Yachats. The city council will review and vote on recommendations and policy and items that are recommended to them through the commission. So it says Parks and Commons on this one, but it's the same for library or any other commission. The city manager works with the commissions and the staff person to prepare meeting materials that are brought to the city council. So anything that the common or the commissions and that staff person they wanted to bring up to the city council they'll work with me on that and how that gets presented, and making sure that we've got all of our ducks in a row together before it gets to that point of going to city council. I put the city council goals into a work plan and share those with all of the city departments. And we evaluate how commissions can help us or work groups can help us achieve the goals. The city manager is in charge of the city administration and staff. So all staff requests do go through the city manager. The librarian is a city staff person, is a city department. And the librarian works with the chair or vice chair or both to set a monthly agenda or quarterly agenda in this case. And in that agenda, we request that all items are linked directly into the agendas. And then our city recorder is the kind of the transmitter. She then will take all of the information that you guys have put together, and you guys make your agendas together, and then make sure the librarian has a staff report that is part of the agenda, and gets, the updates that are happening in her department to the commission, and that's part of the agenda. And then the librarian also will prepare a staff report that's part of the city manager's report to the city council. So that's kind of her role with the commission and preparing for meetings and sharing work that's being done on behalf of the library. Then our city recorder, her responsibility for that is to ensure that the chair and vice chair have a draft agenda to use for their meeting setting material, and ensure that meetings are posted on the website and in all areas that we share information, to make sure that any meeting materials are on the agenda center 1 week before the meeting date. That's a rule that we have for city council and our commissions, and that's to have meeting material available 1 week before the meeting date to the public. And we try our hardest to abide by that at city council. Sometimes things come up, and same with the other commissions, they try their hardest to abide by that. But there are things that come up, and there are things to add in between. Our city recorder, she also is takes the minutes and provides the minutes for all of our meetings. And so that role is basically the transmitter of all of the information. And I think what I try to stress to all of the commissions is that they're not the only commission, that we have a lot of commissions and committees and responsibilities. So we want things to be done in a timely and efficient manner so that she's able to make sure that all of the notices and agendas and meeting materials are provided to the public in a timely manner. The role of a commission, the library commission, is to work with the librarian to provide support, to provide recommendations, to provide input in developing and maintaining facilities, the materials that are being provided, the hours that are being provided, evaluating staffing needs, evaluating what's working, what's not working, but it's a recommendation and input that's being given. It's not a directing, it's not a oversight, it's advice, it's support, it's recommendations. And then also the library commission members, all commission members, their roles are to be community connectors, to be an avenue to gain public input, to hear what the community is saying. You're our ears to the ground. You're out there, you're talking to the different people in your circles. You are walking down the streets, you're stopping and having a chat when you're out with your on your walk. And we find that to be one of the more important roles of the commissions. We are often really very, very, very busy in the amount of work we're doing. The amount of work we're getting done with the city of Yachats is quite impressive, and we are all working very hard all the time. And that often means in our offices at the computer. So when we can have our commission members out there gaining insight to what's happening in the public, we really appreciate hearing what's being said, and if there's anything we need to address or bring to another upcoming meeting to talk about. That's a huge part of your role. Another part is to be knowledgeable about what's coming up in your meetings and be prepared with your meeting materials and ensure that you're signed up for Notify Me. So if something does get posted on our agendas for your commission after that 1 week point when we expect everything's posted, you'll get a Notify Me email that says there was materials added to your agenda. So it's a really clear way to know that there's more information that's been added. So we really rely on our members of the commissions to be aware and to be prepared for meetings when we have them. And then this is how our different commissions help with our capital improvement budget. And our capital improvement budget is our big project budget. And I'm sure you're all super familiar with that because of all the library work that you've been involved in building this library that we've got going on right now. That's all out of our capital improvement budget. It's all come from this commission and the friends group that supports the commission and everybody who's worked together to get to this point of making those spends out of that budget now, and which is huge. And I applaud every one of you guys for the hard work and diligence that you've had to get to this point. But the city's budget, really, we don't start really setting our budget until the capital improvement budget is approved. And that was just done yesterday at our city council meeting. So we start looking to our commissions in about November and saying, what do you have in line for this next year that we need to be thinking about for budgets? What are big projects that need to be done? What needs to be considered and worked into this capital improvement budget, which is anything over $5,000, has a lifespan of over 5 years, and is an improvement to the city, not a maintenance thing, but a real solid improvement to the city. and our city assets. So the city council does it, the library commission does it, all of our varying commission does it. We do it at city hall, as staff, and then we bring all of those suggestions of projects to do in the next year to add to the CIP budget through a written document request that Neil holds as our capital improvement coordinator. Those go through him from the commissions when the commissions discuss what they'd like to recommend to be considered for the next year. They go to Neil and then they come to the finance committee. Neil brings them all to the finance committee. Every committee chair and committee member, commission member is welcome to come to those finance committee meetings when we start penciling out our CIP budget for the next year. We always start that in February. That's what our agenda is. February this year, we had so much to discuss. It was February, March, and April. So, but those discussions, they start in February, and we invite commissions that want to advocate for something or really strongly recommend that something gets added into that they come to those meetings, as well as have requested through Neil that they get added on to the budget. The finance committee really looks closely at those and evaluates between all of the different departments, what is feasible in this year, what's going to roll over from last year, and then formally presents it to city council, which we did yesterday. And then after the city council approves it, it starts to get worked into our budget, which then our budget committee approves, and it has another final approval through city council, and then it goes into our work plan for the year. So anything that's in our budget, that's our go ahead to work on for the year. And anything that's in our city goals, that's our go ahead to work on for the year. So that's a really solid way for the commission to be making recommendations on things they'd like the city staff to be focused on in the next year. And that also pertains to goals that go along with the budget into our workflow. And the commission in November, again, it's in our it's our commission ordinances that in November commissions discuss what the goals are for the next year, what they recommend for the commission to be thinking about, their departments to be thinking about, and what they would like the city council to be thinking about for the next year. And so November, December, those are times to be having those conversations and generate some goals that they'd like to recommend to city council. Maybe it would be having a children's library, and there's a lot to be considered. More books, more, just whatever direction we're thinking that we need to take the library in, more part-time staff, or any of those type of things. That's the time to really be thinking about it and getting it to city council for their January goal setting session. This year, we even extended it into February a little bit for an additional work session to fine tune the goals, and they were adopted in February. And from then we've been addressing them within our city staff and within all of the varying commissions, and making it very clear what they are and how commissions can support us in executing them. There's been a few work groups so far that have developed through these presentations, and they've been kind of cross-commissioned even, like there's a commission member from here that's really passionate about environmental awareness, and there's a commission over here that's really interested in fine-tuning codes, and so they've been kind of coming across and working together in different commission groups as work groups to help the city staff achieve some of these. So that's been really interesting to see. Then it goes into our city work plan, and then we identify how the commissions can support us, and then it circles right back again to, I feel like next week we're going to be in November already. The way that things are speeding along. But it's just, yeah, that's our annual workflow, and it's a constant flow, and we're gonna keep carrying things over and working together and through this. So that's kind of the overview of organizational chart, roles and responsibilities, and how commissions and council goals can work into our city's work plan for the year. And I will go over now some of the goals that were put in place. We'll say, again, like a lot of these are really cross commission, like they're not all like specific to a commission, but there's things that are applicable to all. And we really worked towards ensuring that when we made these goals, there was, the big focus area kind of distilled down into a little bit more of a goal, and then action items, and then some deliverables. And that helps us really turn these goals into a work plan, because when you identify them in that way, it's just so much more concrete than saying, work on infrastructure, achieve water sustainability. That means a lot of different things. So it was good for the council to really like prioritize what those action plans would be for the year. And as we do this, we always are referring back to our City of Yachats vision, and making sure that our goals and our action plans are reflected in that vision statement. So one of the big goals for the year is infrastructure and achieving water sustainability. And there's 5 action plans that are identified in that. So and then deliverables that connect to it. And these, while they don't necessarily pertain to the library commission, I think it's really good for all of our commissions to know what all the city goals are. So I'm just going to read through them fairly quickly. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So the first one is a new reservoir feasibility, doing some geotech studies and engineering for a new reservoir. Develop a funding pathway for seismically stable water storage while simultaneously creating middle income housing. That's going to be grant seeking. Create and implement street rehabilitation plans and communicate the sequence to the public. So creating a 1, 3, and 5-year plan, and regularly communicate what's coming up for street repairs, and of course, how to fund them. Reduced winter wastewater inflow and infiltration. So increased inflow and infiltration inspections. Develop plans and calculate the cost for new public works storage and emergency shelter. And that is going to be developing the property that was purchased last year, referred to as the Edmonds property. It's adjacent to our water treatment plant. So our next section of goal is livability. And that's provide safe access to and use of city infrastructure, parks, and trails. And some of the action items for that are continue pursuing traffic calming measures and pedestrian safety with ODOT. That's really gonna all come down to conversations with ODOT for me on exploring the different ways to do traffic calming measures. There's a lot of suggestions that are out there, just what the feasibility of all of those are. And anytime we do anything with that, like what if we look to do the crosswalk, or not crosswalks, but the continuing of phase 2, phase 3 sidewalks, working with PUD and ensuring the plans that we do align with their electrical supply, and exploring funding options for all the projects. Some of the pedestrian safety measures that are out that we're exploring are Lori Lane crosswalk, like traffic calming near Lori Lane, bike lanes, pedestrian lanes, and correcting sidewalks, and continuing with the phases that have previously been identified for north and south sidewalks, phase 2 and 3. Evaluate the effectiveness of code enforcement and public safety programs, review existing ordinances relating to loitering, dogs, and camping. So creating the budget for this year to reflect what is the level of code enforcement and public safety needed, so deliverable out of that. Develop a park plan for the landmark property and reapply for the estuary boardwalk grant. Establish and fund a public art initiative, encourage local artists to submit ideas for public art projects. Begin implementing the Civic Campus Master Plan. The next goal section is housing supply, and that is identify ways to expand the housing supply and diversify housing options. So a lot of this is really planning, and a lot of it will also come into the Cascadia group that they've currently are working with, and there's some different ideas out there with that. So amend zoning regulations to increase housing density with a focus on creating housing options that are suitable for full-time residents, particularly those who work within the community. Explore strategies for repurposing existing housing stock, including vacant or underutilized properties, to create full-time residences and multifamily housing options. Perform a capacity analysis of the existing water system to determine its maximum water delivery capability. That will be a consultant that we're working with, and really to identify how many units of water are needed per dwelling in the city limits. And the previous two will really be wrapped into the Cascadia Partners project. So environmental stewardship, environmentally aware in all we do. And some action items from that is identify ways to expand open spaces, parks, and trails, encourage land donations and conservation easements. And a deliverable with that is identify criteria that will guide the acquisition of property by the city, ensuring the purchase is in the best interest of the city. Complete the wetlands inventory and provide education on wetland ponds, and that's communication with state departments. Prioritize environmental sustainability for all future city construction projects by carefully considering the environmental impact of land use, construction materials, and overall project design. And what we're looking at for deliverable of that is to develop a generalized checklist of accepted considerations. Some of the planning commission folks are really excited about that one. I don't know if it jumps out at anybody else, but I could definitely use help with it. Continue to consider the environmental impact when making decisions in all areas of city business. So things like having recycle bins, more garbage cans around the city, recycle bins around the city, just using environmentally friendly materials and items, reducing plastic use, maybe looking at having some water filling stations for water bottles to reduce the plastic bottles being brought into the city buildings, etc. Review ordinances that significantly impact the environment, such as those related to trees and noxious weeds. So our Parks and Commons Commission and Planning Commission members are working on reviewing and updating, and Parks and Commons will focus kind of on more of the public space, and Planning Commission will focus more on how it affects property ordinances. Fiscal sustainability, effectively manage and plan for the city's financial needs. So designate the finance committee as the audit review committee. We just did that yesterday in our city council meeting with the updated ordinance. Explore the and explore and implement strategies to ensure the long-term sustainability and funding of our water reserves while continuing a contractual agreement with the Sheriff's Department. Explore options for extending the service life and securing funding for upgrades to our wastewater treatment plant. Document urban renewal district expiration and develop preliminary replacement funding plans. And develop and implement a criteria for the distribution of funds requested from visitor amenities. We just discussed this yesterday as well. Really creating a grant process, so it's equally shared throughout the community, that there's a grant opportunity for nonprofit organizations to apply for either projects or organizational administration, and having guidelines and reporting, application process and a reporting process that goes along with that. And supporting nonprofit organizations through funds is something the city already does, but this is just putting a process in place. Public awareness, deliver efficient, effective, and transparent municipal services. And with that, we have enhanced the city's online presence and improved citizen engagement by modernizing and optimizing the official city website. So we're going to look at putting together a work group for this and ask people in this work group to work with Neil and on their own, kind of be researching other city websites and what's looking good, what's easy to use. We will continue on with our Civic Plus company that we currently have in place and was put in place by a user, by a city group that did a lot of evaluation of different websites, and we're really happy with it, but we are set for a relook of it, like a redesign of it as part of our regular contract. So we want to really look at what is the most user-friendly pieces to other cities' websites or other Civic Plus websites, and have those suggestions come to us when we go forward with a redesign for that. We have a community engagement, community engagement to continue to create a positive community image. So continue posting on our social media, through our e-newsletter, print newsletter. We just started doing a city council recap video, and we post that on our website and social media. And we use the resident sentiment survey that we did last year to create content. So as we look back at that and and look and identify what people had questions or concerns, we're voicing, and we try to make sure that we're thinking about those things, and those are the things that the residents want to know about or hear about while we're creating articles for our newsletter and stuff for our social media. Create a user-friendly citizens budget book and provide a comprehensive budget education. So we're working on that right now. We did part of the State of the City event, a Budget 101, and we're going to be doing that again, but a little bit more in depth this next week on April 23rd. We have a budget education section of an event, and then we have a partnership with the Economic Development Alliance, and they've created a budget game, so an interactive activity for citizens to come and work together and create a city budget with their priorities, but using real life numbers and real life situations that also come into play. It's like there's the non-negotiable spends, and then there's the wants and spends. And then there's the have to emergency spend. So there's like a deck of cards, and it's gonna be interesting. It's the first time for them and for us. So we're the guinea pigs, and it's gonna be something that potentially can be used through other cities in the county as partnership with the Economic Development Alliance. Pretty excited about that. Increase awareness and understanding of city council proceedings. So that's the, kind of talks about the, with the mayor's newsletter, the video, recap, and, making sure that we're sharing what's going on with the city. And then alignment, synchronize and update city policies and administrative rules. And that's evaluating our municipal code for clarity and comprehensiveness. And a big deal is aligning our commission rules and ordinances with the, so commission rules, and then there's ordinances, and making sure they align and they also reflect the current, usage of commissions. Like a lot of them, like I mentioned early, are still written in the form of the strong mayor form of government, when our commissions were used a lot differently than they are now with a full city staff. And that's confusing for some of our commission members. So we're really trying to have clarity and understanding in those roles and responsibilities with a city manager form of government and a full city staff, and how we can continue on with commissions and supporting the work we're doing as a city staff. And looking at a code of conduct for our city councilors, the commissioners, work groups, and city staff. Any questions? It's a lot of goals for the year, so I think they're gonna probably be 2 or 3 years worth of goals, to be honest, but we'll keep rolling them over as long as we need to. But that's what we got going on, and just really trying to, in all aspects of the city work, put process into place, and really ensure that like the library is recognized as a city department, the Little Log Church is a city building and a city department, and bring us all together. We're not, they're not separate entities, we're all the same, and we all want to work together well. I think that every person who puts themselves in a volunteer position for the city is really there to help for the greater good of the city. So just really making sure that the communication is there, and everybody has a clear understanding of where they fit in and how they can support the city. So thank you very much for your time today and all of the work that you do for the city. I'm very, very excited about the library and the work that you've all put into the library, and seeing how that unfolds, and the support that the Friends of the Library has given to the city and to the library, and continues to give to them for programming through their book sales, and writing grants for the interior of the library and the build of the library. And I think it's just been an incredible collaborative effort, and I look forward to watching it continue to unfold. So thank you for your time. Any questions up there, David?
I don't, the only question is, do you have superhuman powers in order to pull all this stuff off over the next year? It's a wonderful agenda, but a tall one for sure. And look forward to working with you and with the Library Commission on doing our part of it for sure.
Absolutely. So, with all of the folks in the community that do love to volunteer, if there's anything on there that just is really interesting, like, please reach out, and I'll let you know how you can help us, because there's a lot to do.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Yeah.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you, David.
Okay, let's move forward to our reports here. The budget report was, of course, to have been given by Lane, who's not here. And so very briefly, I will just say that because we are in room 8 of the Commons, we are not in the process of spending a whole lot of money in that regard, and we are doing fine. There are no huge surprises, nothing that is alarming in that regard. So if I can get a report from Lane, I will get it, and I will have it distributed. So okay, and are any questions about that? Okay, then the library expansion status report with either or Rick and Neil.
Rick isn't here, but I can let you know that we did our first substantial payment to our contractor. A large amount of it was mobilization and demolition of the old building. But we were expecting it, and they've got the helical piers substantially done, and the foundation should be going in the next 2 weeks. We should have that done by the end of the month, and then the exterior framing should start about a month from now, I think. That's it's the main thing that I know, I guess. We've been having some back and forth with the architect, approving submittals, and I've been going back and forth with Michelle Pelletier for the interior in case she had any particular colors in mind for carpets was a big one, and other kinds of interior things. So we've been bouncing things back and forth between the architect and the interior design and the contractor. So I think things are coming along pretty well.
It's really exciting to see it actually happening and taking place here. Watching it evolve into a new building. That's been exciting. So hopefully most of the weather issues will be behind us and we can just move forward here. Thanks, Neil. Anybody have any questions for Neil?
I have one.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you said you made a major payment. Are the payments going out as things are progressing or as time? So you make a payment when framing's done, you make a payment when roofing's done, is that how the?
It's a once a month, I believe. So he'll submit a monthly payment request along with his certified payroll statements for the prevailing wage thing, and he'll have a say like 7%. I think we're at 7% done right now. So he'll say, we're 7% done with this category, and we're 100% done with the demolition category, and he has it kind of broken down by all the different areas, and so he gives us a sheet of how much percent he has done with each category, and it's not just time based; it's based on the actual work that's been completed.
Yeah, Sandy.
I lost track, and I apologize for, maybe it's just memory, of the money that's been budgeted and contracted for the construction. How much is not funded in terms of making the doors be open? Like how much interior stuff has to be done in order you can actually open the doors? When this contractor gets done, he walks away, but we can't open it up and cut ribbon cutting and say, come in the next day and see the library. So do you know how much is going to be needed in order to actually open the library?
I know we budgeted it for our next fiscal year for interior work, and I don't have that number right in front of me here, but I can pull it up.
Define next fiscal year.
After July.
Oh,
July 1st, yeah.
25, 26.
You want me to pull it up from the meeting yesterday?
If you have it
Yeah, I
in,
think
So you have it budgeted in your budget?
we do, yeah, we have. Oh, let's see here.
This is above the 1.5.
Yeah,
And as you're looking, are you anticipating needing any help from the Friends in order to do that?
well, if you wanted to apply for grants, it couldn't hurt. We put 100,000 in there for interior finishing.
an interior wall built 25,000.
Right.
Oh, that's
Insulation.
Yeah.
So 125,000 after the contractor's done.
And then the following fiscal year, it's 55,000 for final landscaping.
Okay, thank you.
I would say with that, we would be able to open. We'll be able to spend that in starting July. This is when we'll have that, and building will be done November timeframe-ish. Start setting her up.
I think we should be able to in November, yeah.
We will absolutely be happy to accept any additional funds from the Friends of the Library if there are grants available for additional interior stuff.
I suspect some of that will happen as we go along. Someone will see, oh gosh, wouldn't it be great to have such and such in this corner? Or once you're in the building and you see it functional, then there may be some additional suggestions come up, and we might at that point approach the Friends, see if there were things that you felt comfortable helping out with.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, any more on Neil's report here? Neil, thank you so much. And as I say, it's really, really great to watch it happening here. Good. Well, Marg, would you like to come up and sit in the hot seat there?
Oh, I can do that.
So thanks for being here. And again, my apologies for not looking at you straight in the eye here. But I think it's better that I don't spread this around. But thank you also for being interested in possibly becoming one of the library commissioners. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your interest in the library?
Okay. I lived in Yachats since November of 2001. And when my husband passed away in 2014, he left me some money. I've always been interested in libraries. I was reading at age 4 and had an adult card at the local library when I was 12. And I've just always liked books. And my house still has about 4,000 books in it. I donated 1,000 books to the Friends to the library and money. Starting, I think, in 2019. And partly because I got involved in that, I thought maybe I should be further involved. And here I am. And that's about it.
Well, thank you for your interest and for your desire to be further involved. I can tell you that there will be some discussions coming up, and I will get it more into that in a minute here. That the commission will have its work cut out for it in trying to redefine itself. And so any thoughts and any ideas that you might be able to bring to the table, assuming all this goes the way I think it probably will certainly be appreciated. Street, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Marg?
I have a lot of questions. I think they'll be answered as time goes on, hopefully.
Okay, great. I was actually asking Street as the other commissioner present if you had any questions you wanted to ask Marg.
Just, do you have any specific things in mind that you wanted to?
I can't quite hear you.
Do you have
I have
any?
new hearing aids, I'll explain, and they're not working all that great, but I'm doing what I can.
Are there any specific areas or concerns or ideas that you have for what the Library Commission might want to support the library with?
Not really, not specifically. Like David, I'm just glad to see some motion. It seems like it was a long time since I first approached Marv to donate money to the library. And it's
Yeah,
good to
Finally.
see it going.
okay, all right.
All right. Anybody else have any questions from Marg? All right, Street, it's up to you and me. I would certainly vote in favor of suggesting that the city council approve Marg as a member of the library commission. Do you concur with that?
Yes, I second that.
Okay, so that's unanimous, and thank you, Marg. Neil, do you happen to know when her consideration might come before the city council?
That could be their next meeting, so a month from now.
Month from now. Okay. Well, Mark, I will keep you in. I'll keep you in the loop on that and make sure that you know when that's going to come up. And I hopefully by then I'll be over this and I will be there at the meeting to support you as well. So
Okay,
thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much.
thank you.
You can take your seat now as a commissioner. You get to take your seat as a commissioner.
I need to use the restroom.
Okay.
I can just.
Sure. Sure, and then you can come back to a commission seat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, the next topic, discussion regarding the future role of the Library Commission, was helped a lot by Bobby's report. What I was going to talk about here was some of the discussion that has happened in the monthly meetings that the library chairs have. We get together once a month, all four library chairs, along with the city manager, Bobby Price, and the mayor, Craig Birdie, and also now the individual who is, I think, taking over from Tom Lauritsen as the city's financial advisor, Julie Ectum. And we toss around lots of ideas that are coming up and try to see how we fit in congenially and in harmony with other commissions and other departments of the city. And of course, the one topic that has been foremost on my mind is, all right, we now have a library administrator who is an employee. And so we are, as a commission, no longer in the role of a governing administrational body. So what are we and how do we go about doing what we need to do? And these ideas have were tossed around, especially at the last two meetings. And a couple of things came to the fore as definite directions in which to go. Number one, whether we remain as a commission or become a committee or whatever we do, it has to be a standing organization. The feeling was very strong that the library administrator needs the support and the constant support. It cannot be something that's ad hoc. So that was one topic that came up. The other one is, as Bobby said, the library is a department of the city, and as such, whatever changes we make in whatever direction we go, we have to have approval of the city council and then be working directly with the city manager on what it is that we feel are recommendations we should give to assist with the management of the library. So then the question to me is it better to start thinking about this now, or is it better to put our attention on putting together, for the time being at least, a full library commission with all 5 members present, that we have more input and more ideas being presented, and that we then, as we approach the city council, have a little bit more clout in that we say, yes, these were decisions made by the full commission. We went over this carefully, and we think that this is the direction we should go. We will have, I think, a better chance of approval if it's done by a complete commission. Now that's my bias on that. The question ultimately is, are we going to stay as a commission? Are we going to become a committee so that we don't have to have a public meeting every time we want to help Tracy or help with the library in some way? And the question is, should we start talking about these things now, or should we wait until we have a complete commission? And I would love to have your input, Street and Mark, even though it's perhaps a bit premature. I would definitely be interested in your thoughts on this.
David, I'm gonna interrupt really quick. I just want to make one clarification just in terminology here. So a committee would still have public meetings. A committee of the city is still as a public meeting, law is still bound by the public meeting law. A work group is not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I kind of agree with you, David. I think we need a full commission before we think about any changes in how we operate or anything. And I think we need some time to digest what Bobby was talking about today as the roles of commissions and discuss that and go from there.
All right. Thank you. Marg, any thoughts?
Well, since I'm so new, I don't really know exactly the difference between a commission and a committee. But I agree with Steve, is it?
Street.
Street, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Yeah, we should probably have a full commission before we make a decision on it.
Okay, thank you. That pretty much concurs with my own thoughts on this. We now have 4 commissioners, almost 4, and I keep putting in these loud advertisements in the monthly bulletins in the hope that we are going to attract a 5th member. And I agree with Street that we need to go over all that Bobby has been telling us about and kind of digest some of that stuff before we make a decision. So, okay, any other thoughts or questions or comments about this topic? All right, Tracy.
So I had sent something out to David and maybe all of, well, the other 2 commissioners, about the ALA webinar that I signed up for entitled Bite Size Improvements, How to Make Small Meaningful Changes to Library Space. Some of these ALA webinars are a little hit and miss. So I've signed up for this. It's June the 4th at 11:30. I didn't know if any of the commissioners were interested in also attending. There is a $79 fee, but I will have an electronic copy of the slide deck from the webinar that I can also send out after the webinar if everybody's interested. And we can see if there's any pertinent information to what we're trying to do as we go forward and plan the interior of the new library. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that that webinar was out there. See if you wanted to take it. I can send you the link to sign up, or you can wait and I can get you the slide deck. Any questions about the ALA webinar?
I think I would probably sign up for that, Tracy. So I will talk to you about that later.
Okay, that sounds good. Fingers crossed that it's pertinent information. Like I said, these ALA webinars can be a little hit and miss because they try to appeal to a very broad audience. And I find that as I take them, we are kind of unique in the way that we operate. So sometimes sometimes they're beneficial, others is just small things to pull out of their agendas that are helpful to us.
Well,
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, well, you and I can each bring a glass of wine, and if it's.
Oh, I like it. Okay, Statistics Week. So every October, I'm tasked with giving the state data from the previous fiscal year, which ends at the end of June. And one of the things that we have to report on are the number of patron visits and the number of patrons using our computers. So we've talked about this a little bit in the past. The state does allow me, because we don't have a door counter, to do a couple of sample weeks a year and then extrapolate that for an entire year. So I just wanted to make you aware that we're actually doing it this week, Monday through Saturday. There's signage on the door. There's signage for patrons as they walk through the door, or explanation of why they're signing in. And then I use that data, combine it with one more week. So I have to squeeze one more week in for the end of June. And then and do some averages for the year. So that's happening right now. Any questions about, I call it Statistics Week. That's how I explain it to volunteers. And patrons have been really good about signing in a couple times a year. So we have some data. Okay, Marg knows this because she's a member. The OHSU Walking Group study is ending at the end of May. We've completed 2 years of walking as a group. This was something that was, the OHSU had reached out to 20 different libraries across the entire state, broke us into 2 groups of 10. We are one of the libraries participating. We walk every Thursday from 2 to 3, and in inclement weather, we sometimes walk in circles in the multipurpose room, but amazing because we live in a very wet environment. We've only had to walk inside a handful of times overall. So that's pretty incredible. I will be putting something in the June newsletter. It talks about the end of the study, reminds everybody what the study was about. Data won't come as a library group until January. And then after that, there'll be published results that talk about the differences in the 2 groups. That's kind of what we started with. Is we have one group that was given $5,000 to walk for 2 years, and another group that was given $5,000 up front and promised another $5,000 to help their community in some walking related project. So it could be like adding grass to a certain area, better signage to a certain area. So we were not part of that second group. And I think the whole hypothesis of the study is that second group would be more committed, because there's money at the end of the project. But they've got, I reached out to one of the people from OHSU that runs the study, and he said 18 libraries are going to finish. So we started with 20. I think that's pretty good. And we're finishing with about 15 people that will probably continue to walk, because we've got a habit now. We've got friendships, and we're building good, healthy habits on Thursday afternoons. But the study will actually end at the end of May. There's $5,000 as a reminder that we got in 2023 that hasn't not been earmarked yet for anything that I imagine will be used for something on the interior of the new library. Any questions about OHSU?
Just congratulations that 15 people stayed through for 2 years on this. That's just incredible. I foresaw it sort of petering out before then, but that's wonderful.
I thought it might too, but we've got a lot of passionate people that show up and make it happen. And like I said, they're also building friendships, and we depend on each other to be there. So it's been fun. Children's librarian updates. I'm hoping for a new position that will be filled sometime late summer, early fall. I might be taking the first crack at writing up a job description, but I'll be looking to the commission for input on what they'd like to see as part of the job description before it ultimately goes to Bobby. And I don't know if you want to weigh in at all on the children's librarian or job description, but is that kind of how you see it? Starting with me and then the commission input and then going to you for your thoughts?
For on the job description?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Wonderful. Where we are at right now is we do not have a children's librarian. Kelly Simmons has stepped down. She did come in yesterday and help with Sarah Berman. Sarah Berman is a local author from Portland who wrote a children's book, and she did a presentation for the preschool for the YPAC kids. A huge thank you to the Friends for supporting Sarah Berman's program, because we bought books that Sarah had written for all the children. I think they had a lot of fun. I was able to watch both groups and I think they really enjoyed it. And Sarah's quite the character. So anyway, Kelly was able to support that, but there were 2 grants that she received prior to stepping down. One is for a junior conservationist series of authors to come in or lecturers to come in. And then the second one is the children's reading program for the summer. And we did have a volunteer who, bless her for stepping up. She's brand new to the library, but she's not brand new to Yachats, except she lives full-time in McMinnville. So we're trying to work out how she brings those programs to life over summer. So she's trying to get up to speed very quickly and start getting some artists, because we're going to do some art activities on board, talking to the YFAP group, planning with them for the summer program, and also starting to pull in the conservationist specialists that she wants to come talk to the kids. So this should all happen probably starting the second week of July. And so we won't have another commission meeting between now and then. So does anybody have any questions about the 2 children's programs that we hope to fly high with this summer?
Is Kelly's, is it permanently stepping down or is it?
As of March, it was permanent, but she also is aware, as am I, that things can change and do change as you go through the grieving process. So we'll revisit it when the new position is available, the paid librarian position, and perhaps things will change at that time. She's open to that, but she's also not committing in any way, shape, or form. Okay, let's see. Website. So I am working with a designer to get a new library website up and running. It'll be up to me to write content, and then the designer will put it all together and make it pretty. And so we're starting that ball rolling again. It's been a little bit of start and stop, and part of the reason why is I took a couple of ALA webinars recently about how to make updates to your library's website. So I just did that at the beginning of this month, and so I would be looking for the commission as I start writing content, and certainly to the Friends too, because we'll have a link to the donate page for input on the content that I've written. So that's up and coming, and as I start writing things, I think I'll just start sending them your way, David, and you can decide the distribution and then get back to me. So I'm starting to put things together now, and I don't have a anticipated go live date, but I'm hoping within the next couple months.
I'm happy to help with that, Tracy.
Thank you. Okay, I have a lot of notes, so let me just make sure I've covered everything before I start talking about ebook and audiobook reporting. Oh, staffing is one thing that I'll be looking to the commission and also to Bobby to bounce off of you as we look towards a new library. Help with getting the word out to the community. I don't think even with I've got about 28 volunteers. I don't think with those 28, I'm still going to be able to run the new library at the number of hours that we were open. I believe it's 26 before we closed and moved to 18 in the new room 8. So, and the reason why it partly is because all the volunteers do volunteering in any number of things within the community, not just the library. And so they have very busy schedules. And for me to say to them, well, you work 3 hours now, every other week, now I need you 4 to 5 hours every week. There's going to be some push and pull. And I'm starting in our staff meetings to prepare people for the fact that, I'm going to be asking for different things. I'll try to accommodate as many people as I can. I've tried to make it as easy for people to commit to the library by having every other week staffing and on Saturdays once a month. And so that's all fine and good until you're trying to go from 18 to 26 hours and figure out how to staff. So I'm trying to get people ready for giving me input and also for a different kind of ask from me, because I don't think it's reasonable to expect that we can operate at 18 hours in $1.5 million new facility. I think that's way too pared down, but we may have to gradually add. So we may have to open with 18, and as I get new community members who are interested in helping. And I think the library, the new building is going to sell itself. I think I'm going to get people that get excited and want to spend some time in there volunteering, hopefully. And so we can get our staffing levels, but it may be a gradual thing. So I'll be looking for input from the commission for staffing, and of course, Bobby as well. Oh, let's see. I think that covers everything except for ebook and audiobook reporting. So once again, I'm dealing with paper. I apologize for that. I didn't realize as many people would not be in the room as there are, and I will send this out afterwards, but I can go over some of the highlights of what's changing, what the trending is like for ebook and audiobook patrons participation on the sheet. So there's not a lot of numbers. We pared it down. We talked about this in the last meeting. We pared it down from a lot of numbers broken down really into very, very bite-sized, but probably not as helpful as kind of wrapping some things together. So let me hand out what I do have, and then I'll walk through so that the people that are participating online aren't feeling like they don't have any information. Again, I apologize. I can't put this data together. You know what? You're good. Would you like one? I can't put this data together until the very end of the quarter. So I could have done this as early as April 1st, and I apologize for not having done that. And I was going to say next quarter we'll get together, I believe in July, and I will be gone the first couple weeks on vacation in July. So I will still have to do it this way, but I can send something out prior to the meeting instead of after the meeting, and we'll all have the data to look at instead of me walking you through it. So the first thing that we have are checkouts and participation. And what we've been doing, we meaning Rebecca Block and I, so I took over ordering and preparing commission reports from Rebecca. Gosh, I think it's been about a year now, maybe not quite that long. So she was giving a cumulative checkout since go live. Our go live was July 1, 2021. We, and as you can say, it's just incrementally going up. So the very last column is 3/31/2025. We've had 9,500 checkouts. By comparison, at the end of 2024, there were 8,500. The ebooks, of that 9,500, the ebooks were 6,500. Audiobooks were 3,000. We now have 347 library patrons with pins. And I didn't write the number down, but I think we're at about 1,040 patrons total. which means that 33% of our patrons have a PIN. They need a PIN to access Libby. They can only get a PIN if they are in the 97498 zip code. So 33% have of our patrons have PINs and unique users who access. So this is, we're starting as we add new patrons and give out new library cards. When people are in the 97498 area code, we go ahead and push Libby, even if they aren't interested in using Libby. A lot of our community is not. But then we've already got them set up if they change their mind down the road. So that's the difference between the 347 who have PINs and the 177 that are actually using those PINs. And that's 51% of who have them are using them. But we are now getting to the point at 177 where we're possibly a little bit higher in terms of the number of patrons that use ebooks and audiobooks to print books. And we had talked at the last meeting that we were kind of on parity. I think we're actually inching higher. And then I just have checkouts by quarter. So I wrapped all that data that was parsed out into monthly and broken down into audio and ebook, wrapped it all into just quarterly data, which this just shows you that we've got 11 in this quarter, 11 new users, which, you know, that matches with the unique users since go live, 166 at the end of 2024, 177 now. Checkouts, audiobook and ebooks combined, 1,010 over the last quarter. And the Advantage Plus checkouts are the items that we have added a copy additionally to just the Yachats patrons. And there is a charge for each checkout. There have been 76 of them, which means about 25 a month. And we're budgeted at 125 between ebook and audiobook. So that pencils out to an average of about $5 an item that we pay additionally to bring local copies. And I tried to explain it to the volunteers. It's kind of an odd concept, but we start with a budget of 125 and it decrements down as people check out local copies of items, either audiobook or ebook. And it can never go in a month over that 125 because it starts there and it ends at 0. Sometimes we end at 0 in the middle of the month. Sometimes we end at 0 at the end of the month. And then it resets the following month. And by the following month, I've added a few more local copies and I put that out there on Facebook and those items will then go into the, I may continue to put them on Facebook, but they'll be in the new library website too. So what new print books we've added and what new audio and ebooks we've added local copies for. So I was telling the volunteers, think of it as maybe you have a brand new Louise Penny book and you're a larger library and you have 3 books on the shelf for all of your patrons because you know there's going to be a big demand. Well, this is like adding a 4th copy and making that 4th copy available to only a certain percentage of your patrons, which in our case is the 97498. It's like adding an extra copy that they're not fighting over the 3 anymore. They're not getting in line and getting on a waiting list. They're getting on a waiting list perhaps for the 1 copy that you have for just your local patrons. It's a really odd concept, but hopefully that helps a little with that. So we continue to go up. There's still demand. I've tried to make the volunteers or help the volunteers be more comfortable and helping patrons with Libby. We've got a handout that says how to get started with Libby that they can give to patrons. And then we've also in staff meetings, I sometimes will project and I have, we'll go over how to use Libby and how to help patrons and what questions patrons are having, because a lot of the librarians don't use Libby. I've just got probably of the staff in there, maybe 3 or 4 that even use it themselves. So the rest are like, I don't know. I'll leave a note for Tracy. so I try to get them more on board with being comfortable, if nothing else, to know how to find a handout and give it to patrons so that will help them with Libby. It's a large part of what we do these days when you look at the budget for print books versus the budget for ebooks and audiobooks, a large percentage of which is provided by the Friends of the Library. But there's a lot of expenditures around ebooks. And so I've tried to help the volunteers become more comfortable. I've sent them screenshots to help them find things on our library system to help them help patrons better. So,
Tracy, I have a question.
yes.
Why don't you add that to the training of the volunteers? So they have to use the check-in and check-out system to check out books. Why don't you also have them learn Libby as part of what you do coming in as a new librarian volunteer?
I currently do not have anyone who is dedicated to doing any training at all. So I've tried to pick up the Libby seminar team meetings. I have people that are willing to help with training, but there's no, Diane Allen for years did all the training. And I just haven't had anybody step up and say, I'd like to be a trainer. So I've filled in where I can, helping people learn Libby, but there's still some resistance and their questions don't come up that often too. So even if we train them right from the get-go when they start, there may be questions that don't even come up for 6 or 7 or 8 months. So I just try to keep it as a conversation in team meetings so that we can touch base on that. But that's a really good question. I think it's a service that we offer that everybody should be comfortable speaking to. I think that checks all my boxes for today. Does anybody have any questions about ebooks, audiobooks? Again, I apologize. I will send out this spreadsheet after the meeting, and we'll send it prior to the meeting when we meet in July.
Also, maybe you can give I don't know, Neil, if this would work, but you can give a copy to Neil. He can put it online. Would that be possible, Neil?
Yeah, if you can email it to me, I'll put it part of the agenda packet.
Well, that's the thing. So I can't do that in July because I can't pull the data until July 1st. And then I'll be gone starting the 4th, maybe the 3rd. So if I get it all put together really quickly in July 1, I will send it to you for the agenda packet prior to the meeting. And if not, I'll send it out to the potential attendees prior to the meeting.
But I was also talking about what you presented today, Tracy.
Yes.
Maybe,
Neil and I talked about that earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I will definitely do that.
Good. Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it, as always. Sandy.
Okay, kind of on the heels of Bobby's presentation, just like to add, and y'all know this and you've been referring to it, but make it into the record there, the roles of the Friends of the Yachats Library. Our revenue stream comes from grant writing. It comes from book sales and donations. And we are very lucky to have a pretty stream coming from all of those and people that step up and help us. And all the money that we get goes back into the library. We have no overhead in terms of salaries or expenses that we have to do with it ourselves. And part of the book sales is the sales on eBay also, which has been very, very good lately. So in light of that, what we do then is make money off the book sale. The last book sale, we made about $3,800 and a little bit over $3,800. We're finding with the small sales and using the basement, having our setup there and having multiple sales during the year has been equal to, if not greater than, the one big book sale that we used to have, a 2-day sale that we used to have. So it's actually with less work, less staff required in order to put on a book sale, we're making as much money. So it's working out very well. We really appreciate that. Our contract or MOU with the city to use the basement is about ready to expire. So we're hoping that it'll be extended for another 3 years. Bobby and I have talked about it, and we're working on getting that formalized, because it's working out so well. Our trust management grant has been submitted, thanks to Sue May. In getting it, and Marge, for getting it in. And, they have required a site visit this year. They never done that before. It's something new. They have a little bit different administration there. And so they came out, and Sue and Tracy gave them a tour of our hole, in the ground, and the mud, and the library. And I think you guys went over to the Commons, looked at the book sale area also. So they were very pleased with us. They liked the long relationship that they've had with us. They enjoyed the end of year reporting. I think it's substantial. And Sue reported that she thinks that should be no problem. We ought to be able to get the grant. And our ask was another 15,000 for this year. And a lot of that goes for the eBay, so or for the ebooks. So hopefully that we're going to get that. We provided $500 to Tracy, like we've done at least the last 1 year, maybe 2 years. She can use that at her discretion for whatever she needs for incentives and bonuses and helping volunteers and doing things. And so that is been given to her. And as Tracy mentioned, we did provide some money for buying author books, $662. We're hoping to cover that in grant money. But if not, then we'll cover it with our friends' money that out of our pocket. So that's covered. And it's good to hear that all went well yesterday. And the last thing I have on my list is that we've put together a list of the correct names of all the major donors and grantors. And if you're putting together a dedication plaque or something in the new building to recognize all that, we've got all the official names and hopefully proper spellings and everything, so you can let us know and we can share that list with you. And I think that's all I have. Sue May, have I missed anything?
No, I think we're good.
So Sandy, just to add to what you talked about, the plaque, that came up again yesterday. And there is a donor who approached me, a potential donor, and I sent him your way. But he was also very interested in having his name, or the name of the person in whose name he is making the donation, prominently displayed somewhere in the library. So that will come up again. It is something that we have talked about with Michelle Pelletier, and we will make sure that there is a plaque or a series of plaques somehow, that these are acknowledged.
Yeah, I get it's amazing how many times I get contacted by family of old people that have passed, worked at the library for a long time, and they're asking, there used to be a plaque. I haven't seen it. Is there something there? Do you remember when my mother did this or whatever? So it's amazing how much commitment there is to the library and how many people have touched and been involved in the library, and so many of the volunteers over the years in terms of volunteer librarians and such. So.
All right. Thank you so much for that, and for all your hard work. It's greatly appreciated, obviously. Any other ongoing business anybody wants to bring up? All right. Any new business? I think we have plenty on our plates without anything new.
Can you talk about how you're going to move forward with the interior of this library? I seem to be getting a little stressed out about thinking that it's time to start ordering things, getting things available. Since we've heard that there's budgeted money, the Friends are also, willing to help if we can get some definition and I'm just, where is that coming from? You're not gonna meet again till July. We're gonna have this conversation again in July, and then now it's gonna be less than 6 months that we wanna open the doors, and are we not even ordering bookcases, or do we have chairs that aren't there, or what do we need to do? My house is being built, but I ain't got a sofa yet. And it's time to get that
I
sofa.
can volunteer something there. I did talk to Michelle Pelletier, the interior person, and she said that the process would take, I believe she said 3 months between putting it out to bid and ordering it in and getting everything in. So I mentioned to her that our new budget cycle starts July 1st, and we'd know that we officially had the money then, and she felt like that'd be enough time to sync it up with the end of the construction phase and getting everything in. So I was planning on starting talking to her right after our budget gets approved in July 1st. So we'll be working closely with Michelle on that one.
Okay, that's good.
Cool.
All right, anyone else have any questions, thoughts, comments?
So just a quick add to that, I imagine we will be using the same folks we used to move us out, to move us back in again, David, and they will need some lead time. So we'll need to start looking at some target dates for getting all of our collection back in. At some point, obviously after the bookcases are in, we can't really move forward till we figured that piece out, but do you anticipate using Angel Job Corps again, David, for our move-in?
I would hope that we can use them. I don't know what changes have occurred in their organization, but if they are still functioning the way they are, that was a great fit for us. They were incredibly conscientious and got that whole thing taken care of in short order. So yeah, I would hope that we can use them again.
Okay, and we'll just need to plan for some lead time for them.
Right.
Can I ask one more question, probably of Neil? So you said we've made a major payment towards the project. Do we have I'm sure you do. Do you have something that is counting down? That's showing how much has been spent, what we have left, and where we are with the construction costs?
Yeah, so each one of the payment requests from the contractor comes with the spreadsheet that basically says, you know, here's the total project amount, and then the breakdown of how much each item is, and each line item with the percentage of how much we've completed. So yeah, it's all counting towards that 1.36 million that he has in his contract.
How much has been paid to date?
170,000 and change. A large amount of that was a mobilization, which happens at the beginning, but it's like 5% of the total. So it was like 66,000, I think, with just getting them started. I think 33,000 was the demolition.
Where do you see the biggest chunks coming in? Do you have any?
You know, I don't have.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot if you don't.
I don't have it in front of me here, but I could email you the spreadsheet and kind of give you a rough breakdown on there.
If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
All right, anybody else, any thoughts, questions? Right, thank you all so much. I now adjourn this Library Commission meeting and appreciate everyone's input and help. And Marg, I will be in touch with you, and Tracy in touch with you as soon as I get over this bug, and we'll move to the next step. Thank you so much, everyone.
Feel better.
Okay.